Alright, what's going on, everybody? It is your friend, your one and only neighborhood Isaac Parks, also known as Isaac Punts, and we're gonna have a little bit of a story time because your boy's a dad now. And technically I've been kind of becoming a father for the last 8 or so months, but let's just kind of explain how we got here. We're gonna skip the birds and the bees part and talk about why now, why so early, because it's been a little bit crazy. I can't lie to you, it's been a little bit crazy. So pretty much, I'll start a couple days ago, right? My wife and I, she's been pregnant for a little bit, okay? As one does when you're gonna have a baby. So she pretty much, we were just like hanging out. We had a doctor's appointment the day before. Baby looked great, but we noticed the blood pressure was a little high. She borrowed her grandma's blood pressure testing thing, a little cuff that she puts on her arm. And one night we're just hanging out. She was like, I'm gonna take it. Not really any specific reason, a little bit of a headache, maybe at most, some swollen feet, but nothing like crazy, right? No blurred vision, not like feeling lightheaded. So she takes it and it's a little high. It's like 160, right? So I'm like, okay, that's weird. Just take a seat, just calm down, let's take a couple breaths, maybe it's just, anxiety or whatever, has it a little high. Then we're gonna try again, so whatever. Calm down, she sits for a couple seconds, let her just relax, puts it back on, tries again, bang, still high. So now we're kind of like, okay, that's what we like to call in the industry, not good. So what happens is she calls her mom, who happens to be a nurse, and tells her what's going on. So her mom, after that's like, yeah, you should probably just go to the hospital, right? Just to see what, just see what's going on. Just make sure everything's okay. Not a bad idea. So we go to the hospital and I put on like a fit because I think I'm going there and coming right back, So I'm just like, okay, I'm not really even packing. I think Shania packed something. I didn't because I was just like, dude, I thought she was low-key, bad husband moment. I thought she was kind of overreacting. I was like, I know your blood pressure's high, but we're going to go there. They're going to give you some aspirin or something and just send you home, So we went there and that's kind of how it started off happening. We went in, we saw a doctor, really good doctor. Pretty much was just like, yeah, okay, we're going to do this, take your blood pressure. We're going to put you on something, take it again if it's down. It's not gonna be a problem. We'll send you home after that. So she takes the first, bout of medicine. She got a little IV in, takes the first bout of medicine, and immediately, boom, 20 points off her systolic pressure. So she goes from like 160 to 140. I'm like, dude, we're gonna be home in like 25 minutes. Let's go. That's about as good as you can ask for, right? So we're just talking, we're just chatting it up. We're like, yeah, it's not gonna be an issue. Then she comes back in, the nurse now, takes it again, and it shoots right back up to like 180. And we're like, oh, that's not good. That's really not good. So now I'm starting to get pretty scared because I've been seeing this like meme float around of that one guy, who was it? It's Squidward. And he comes back and the Squidward like looking like distressed at like the mirror and a bunch of other stuff. And it's just a meme talking about this guy who lost his wife and child in labor. And I was just like, I don't want that to be me. I was freaking out. So anyway, that was like just playing in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is a nightmare scenario. This is bad. This is really bad. And so then the doctor comes back and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like something bad could happen to her. At this point, I'm still thinking we're gonna have to stay overnight. They're gonna monitor, put her on stronger medicine. I don't know what they're gonna have to do. And so the doctor's telling us, and he's like, yeah, so if we can't get it down a little bit, we're just gonna induce. And I was like, motherfucker, what are we inducing? What is it, induction? Huh? We're gonna get one of those stoves where we're inducting maybe some scrambled eggs. But no, he was talking about inducing a baby out of my wife. My baby out of my wife. That's still surreal to say. My child. Anyway, so he was talking about inducing, and I was just like, wow, this is gonna happen. I guess this is gonna happen. Part of me still thought it wasn't gonna happen because they wanted to they had to do like 3 or 4 more tests. But that's when I started to realize like, okay, this is a possibility. I'm meeting my daughter tonight. I was wrong on every account to a certain degree, but I knew like, okay, that my daughter, who I hadn't been expecting for a couple months, is about to make the trip, about to make the plunge. But my wife at this point, we had flipped roles. She was like, no, I was like, that's like last resort. That's probably not going to happen. That's like way down the line. I'm like, okay, didn't really seem way down the line. Seemed like he kind of was implying we're about to do that, but I'll take your word for it. So blood pressure stays high. Doctor comes back in. He goes, yep, we're going to induce you. We're going to get you out of triage, take you over to the maternity ward, and let's get this thing rocking and rolling. And at this point, my legs were like shaking, dude. Freaking out. I was freaking out 100%. And I'm like, okay, got to hold it together. Got to be strong. You're about to be a dad. You knew you're going to be a dad. It's only 2 months sooner. Can't change your fatherhood that much. So I'm like, whatever. Now different priorities. Right now it's like, okay, how do I make sure the wife's okay? How do I make sure our baby's okay? So we get in there, they start inducing, so they just kind of get her started on some drugs. They're still trying to like keep our blood pressure down a little bit. We're both freaking out. The real turning point with how much we were freaking out is we had this neonatal doctor come in. Pretty much just gave us the prognosis for what things were going to look like. Baby's going to be, you know, healthy, very healthy, which is good, you know. Well, we hope very healthy. He said, we're going to get her started on, you know, get her started some steroids so her, you know, lungs can develop a little bit more. At 34 weeks, her lungs are not the most developed, but so they put her on some steroids to get them more developed. And that for the most part, we shouldn't expect any major complications like you would from a typical preemie. 2 months early, who knows? There could be a lot of different stuff, but what we should initially expect is nothing crazy. You know, we're not expecting her to be fighting for her life right out the gate. Not out of the question, but not the expectation, if that makes sense to you guys. So that's where we were at first. I was terrified. She was terrified. That made us feel a little bit better about it. But now we still had the entire labor to go through. And boy howdy, concentration camps in Russia had nothing on the labor we were about to go through. I'm not even joking. I'm talking about like 48 hours of labor, of just pain, discomfort. There was a part where she had morphine, so that made it not so bad for about 8 hours or so, but just grinding away at that. And that made me kind of realize women are pretty badass. My wife is a one badass individual for doing that, because I was thinking, could I do that? Maybe, but we'll never know. And guess what? I don't want to know if I could. I mean, I can't know ever, luckily. But yeah, I was just like, fuck, dude, that is some tough stuff right there that she went through. Ultimately, though, once we got through the labor part, she was having a hard time dilating, so they had to kind of help out with that. But then once she dilated, she got to her 10 centimeters, they were like, okay, we're gonna push. I kid you not, she probably pushed through like 4 contractions, which for the people who don't know is like a grand total at that point of like 3 minutes. She pushed. Boom, baby shot out like a cannon. I'm looking at her, she didn't want me to look, so I'm looking at her, I'm like, hey, you're killing this, like, you're doing great, like, let's just get one more push. Out of the corner of my eye, I just see, bang, and bang, out goes baby. Beautiful little girl. Hello, camera. Okay, beautiful little girl, as healthy as she can be, you know, as far as 34 weeks. They had her on some oxygen at first. Within a couple hours, they took her off 50% oxygen, had her on regular room oxygen, like what you and I breathe, no extra help. By the next morning, this girl was off her ventilator altogether. I was like, dude, you're little mama, you are just like big mama, as in just a tough cookie, okay? Had her off her CPAP. She was breathing normally on her own. Now they've got her completely off, like the heating stuff that's supposed to monitor her body temperature. So she's rocking and rolling. She looks really good right now. She opened her eyes up earlier today. She looked at me. I looked at her. She closed her eyes. I about cried. It was just you just can't put it into words how good of a moment it was. But I just want to keep you guys updated. So that's where we're at right now. So I'm about to head back to the hospital, spend some more time with my wife. So if you guys could leave a like, leave a comment, right? Spread the good news of being a father. Lyra, get out of the camera. Of being a father. Being a father is gonna be great. I'm really scared still, but yeah, that was pretty much the scariest day of my life. There was a point in time when her blood pressure was really high. We did not know what's going to happen. So I'll maybe keep you guys updated. Maybe you guys can meet little Sienna. I don't really want her on the camera too much. This is not, at the end of the day, like a family lifestyle channel. It's just, this is my way of just kind of sharing the excitement with you guys. Thank you for watching, and peace.